by the Economic Development Support Project. They are calling on small and medium-sized enterprises plus cooperatives in the Southwest region to benefit from course, training and the technical support if they can grow cocoa, process cassava or market rice. Following fierce clashes between rival armed groups in Surumon and Zawiya in the western Libya part, 3 civilians have lost their lives while several others have sustained severe injuries, all of this during a mass prison escape. The Confederation of African Football (CAF) is done conducting the preliminary round, that is for the draw of the 2026-2027 CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederation Cup in Cairo, that is in Egypt, recently. Televiewers, you are welcome to join us on the final episode of News Hour for this Friday in the month of August. You are watching Royal Television and this is News Hour presentation of myself, call me Honorine Cheng. I'm taking you straight into the news to see that the Economic Development Support Project here in the Southwest region is calling on cooperatives. They are also calling on farmers who know how to market rice, to grow cocoa and transform cassava to benefit from a free opportunity. Meantime, 100 entrepreneurs gathered in Boya at the Minipat office to be trained on how to fill the form, and also they are expected to benefit from free cash, training, plus a lot of support, as you get to tell us in this report, Frida Lena Vuma.
It was a hall full of hope at the Southwest Regional Delegation of the Economy, Planning and Regional Development. About 100 business owners, farmers and cooperative managers sat down this week for one reason: to turn small ideas into big businesses. The meeting launched the call for project proposals under the Economic Development Support Project. The goal: to promote value chains and private initiative in key sectors. If you work in cocoa, cassava, millet, maize, rice, timber, cotton and more, whether in production, processing, marketing or services, this call is for you. Micro, small and medium enterprises are all eligible. The message was simple: do not do it alone, apply and get support.
Select some of the entrepreneurs through the call for project process. At the end, we will select some of them, and we will give them a technical assistance for them to. Well, the technical assistance will come, as I said, to critique, to analyze and critique what people are doing, what the local entrepreneurs are doing, but good criticism. That means they have to give not only critique but give solution, and they will do they will analyze the business how it is at this moment, and they will ask to the entrepreneur what he will do for the future.
For many in the room, it was the first time they saw a clear path from farm to market with backing. Organizers walked participants through the application process step by step: how to write a proposal, what documents to submit, how projects will be evaluated. The focus is not just on growing more, but on adding value, turning raw maize into flour, raw cocoa into butter, raw timber into finished products. Officials say this is about building a stronger local economy from the ground up, on small and medium-sized enterprises at a time, one cooperative at a time. So, if you are an entrepreneur in the Southwest, this is your moment. Pick up a form, tell your story, because the next big agro-business could start with you.
I'm an entrepreneur in the green and circular economy and I came here to be enlightened on how to benefit from the European Union and this great initiative of our government. So we've learned, we've understood how to use the platform, and we've also learned that the local banks will help us to grow these our initiatives by providing us soft loans, and we'll also have mentors who guide us throughout our businesses.
The Economic Development Support Project is targeting value chains like cocoa, cassava, maize, rice, and more. Do not miss out. Apply today and get the technical support to grow your business.
We remain still in Boya to say that barely 48 hours after the designation of a second-class chief in the support area here in Boya, southwest region of the country, Dr. Molua Absolum Monono has received the maiden visit of His Royal Highness Chief Evanjo Abel Nyoki of Upper Bokoba at the palace. And during this opportunity, Sonita Nguni was there and tells us that it was in a grand show of unity, solidarity, and also traditional fraternity. Up next.
The atmosphere at the Great Supper Palace was festive as chants and songs in the Mokwe language filled the air to welcome the distinguished royal delegation from Upper Bukuva, led by His Royal Majesty Chief Evanjo Abel. Accompanied by his kingmakers and members of his traditional council, His Royal Majesty Chief Evanjo Abel began the visit with traditional libation prayers, invoking blessings, peace and prosperity for the newly designated ruler and the Great Support Chiefdom. He later presented a symbolic gift to Dr. Absolum Mulwa Monono as a mark of goodwill and respect. The landmark visit underscored the long-standing bond between the Upper Bukuva and Great Support Chiefdoms, providing an opportunity for both traditional leaders to exchange views on strengthening cooperation, preserving cultural values, and promoting peace and development within their respective communities.
I came with my entourage to express our hearty congratulations to the chief designate of Great Support. You know, given the strategic position, geographical position of the community of Great Support in Boya, it was just wise for me to make haste and come and express my hearty congratulations, first of all, from the chiefdom of Upper Bokova and the entire population of Upper Bokova, to assure him, the chief-elect of Great Support, that the people of Upper Bokova and the chiefdom are behind him solidly.
Receiving the delegation, the newly designated chief of Great Support, Dr. Absolum Mulwa Monono, expressed profound appreciation for the gesture, describing the visit as a powerful symbol of brotherhood and mutual respect among traditional institutions.
His Royal Majesty, the Chief of Upper Bukuva, for this wonderful visit. He has visited my palace this day. And today he has come with a good number of his notables to come and assure me that the brotherly relationship that exists between Great Support and Upper Bokova Chiefdom is assured and guaranteed. His notables, accompanied by the Queen of Upper Bokova, were here, and we want to say thank you for their visit, thank you for their reassurance.
Beyond the exchange of gifts and traditional rites, the visit symbolized a renewed commitment to friendship, mutual respect, and collective progress, setting the stage for stronger collaboration between the Great Support and Upper Bokova chiefdoms in the years ahead.
Over to Limbe, a tale of tears, a day to remember, and the story not to forget as thousands of Limbe residents watched their toil being swept off by the impact of the heavy downpour. For the mayor of the Limbe 3 municipality, the word of caution was not just timely, but it was life-saving. In a communique, Nseke Dibuti Luma Esquire beckoned on the population as caution to stay away from crossing rivers and also make sure that at a time as this, there should be another's keeper and take care of children. In this report, you get to hear what he told the population. Over to Limbe.
The city of Limbe woke up yesterday with its feet in water. The torrential rainfalls have a negative impact to inhabitants from Welcome to Limbe to Busumbu, the down beach area stretching further up to Mabeta and Bonjo. Hundreds of houses were submerged in water, causing the destruction of properties. As people watched their belongings being carried away helplessly, offices like Beyak and the business points in the Church Street area were not left out. The story was no different from cassava farms to Half Mile. Due to these unfortunate circumstances, the Lord Mayor of the Limbe 3 municipality, Nseke Dibuti Luma Esquire, has cautioned the population through a communique on the various precautionary measures to observe as the heavy rains continue. To pedestrians, road users and motorists, the way out is simple. Stay safe and be protected. To parents, monitor your children, and to everyone, be one another's keeper. As Limbe continues to drown in deep waters, all and sundry must avoid crossing rivers and standing under trees.
Three persons have been left dead over in the western part of Libya, and a good number of them have been injured following prison escape that has happened in western Libya from clashes from varying groups in the cities of Suman and Zawiya. Plus, in the other news, Haiti is also pressing ahead with voter registration for long-delayed general elections, despite worsening gang violence that continues, like you hear, to threaten the security and also raise concerns over the credibility of the elections. Details of this foreign package will be brought to you by Datalin Juma.
Libya's western region has been rocked by renewed violence after clashes between rival armed groups triggered a mass prison escape and raised fresh concerns over security. Inmates fled Suman prison on Tuesday as fighting broke out in and around Suman and neighboring Zawiya, west of the capital Tripoli. Libya's judicial police authorities said it had launched an investigation while a special committee was established to identify and recapture the escaped prisoners. The exact number of escapees has not yet been disclosed. At least 3 civilians were killed and several others injured in the violence. According to local authorities, the clashes also damaged properties and reportedly forced residents to seek shelter as gunfire and thick smoke were seen across affected areas. The violence also raised concern around Zawiya's oil refinery, Libya's largest operational refinery, with the Zawiya Oil Company urging staff to avoid areas affected by the fighting. A neutral force has since been deployed in Suman, helping restore relative calm, but the latest violence once again highlights Libya's fragile security situation more than a decade after the fall of Muammar Gaddafi. Rival armed groups continue to wield significant influence despite repeated efforts to reunify the country's political and security institutions. Haiti is moving forward with preparations for long-awaited elections as authorities expand voter registration despite persistent gang violence across parts of the country. Prime Minister Alix Didier Fil-Aime has reaffirmed the government's commitment to holding the elections, saying the state is providing funding and logistical support to the Provincial Electoral Council to ensure the process moves ahead. Voter registration has now expanded to parts of the West Department, including Pensionville, Delmas, and Tabar. After security concerns initially delayed the exercise, authorities say more registration centers will gradually open as conditions permit. But the electoral process is unfolding against the backdrop of severe insecurity. Armed gangs continue to control and influence large parts of the capital and key transport routes, leaving many Haitians worried about their ability to register and eventually cast their ballots safely. The elections will mark a major step towards restoring democratic institutions in a country that has gone more than a decade without general elections. Haiti has also lacked a president since Jovenel Moïse was assassinated in 2021. For the government, the challenge is now twofold: keeping the electoral timetable on the track while creating enough security for citizens to participate freely.
We are now in sports, and to say that the road to the continental glory is officially on the way after the Confederation of African Football, that is CAF, conducted the preliminary round draws for the 2026-2027 CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederation Cup in Cairo, that's in Egypt recently. Clubs from across the continent have now discovered the opponent standing between them and the lucrative group stages, with several heavyweight clashes and the tricky away trips also promising to be very exciting as Africa's premier club competition is set to be on the way. Details of this story and more with the staff lady and the sports vex girl, Kosona Claudia Mvuma.
The countdown to another thrilling African club football season has begun following the CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederations Cup preliminary rounds draws held in Cairo. A total of 61 clubs have entered this season's CAF Champions League, while 59 teams will battle it out in the CAF Confederations Cup. The preliminary rounds will determine the 16 clubs that eventually qualify for the group stages of each competition. In the Champions League, defending champions Mamelodi Sundowns of South Africa begin the defense of their crown, while continental giants such as Al Ahly, Pyramids FC, Experience de Tunis, AS FAR, and Algeria's Belouizdad also learned their opening opponents. Several debutants will be hoping to make history by upsetting Africa's established powers. One of the standout ties sees Kenyan champions Gor Mahia face Egyptian giants Pyramids FC in what promises to be one of the toughest first-round encounters. The fixtures have already attracted attention because it pits one of East Africa's biggest clubs against one of the continent's current heavyweights. In the CAF Confederations Cup, reigning champions USM Alger also begin another campaign with hopes of retaining their title, while traditional powerhouses such as Kaizer Chiefs, Raja Club of Casablanca, SC Sfaxien, and Club Africain will all be aiming for a successful continental run. The first preliminary round will be played over 2 legs, with the first matches scheduled for 4 to 6 September and the return legs from 11 to 13 September. Winning teams will advance to the second preliminary rounds before the group stage begins later in November. As always, the CAF interclub competitions promise fierce rivalries, long-distance travel, passionate supporters, and the opportunity for lesser-known clubs to announce themselves on the continental stage. For Africa's football giants, the mission is to avoid early upsets, while for the underdogs, this is a chance to create history. The race for African club supremacy has officially begun, and the journey to the 2027 CAF Champions League and CAF Confederations Cup final starts now.
100 entrepreneurs have gathered in Boya this week to learn how to apply for a free opportunity offered them by the Economic Development Support Project. They are calling on small and medium-sized enterprises plus cooperatives in the Southwest region to benefit from coach training and the technical support if they can grow cocoa, process cassava, or market rice. Following fierce clashes between rival armed groups in Trumon and Zawiya in western Libya, 3 civilians have lost their lives while several others have sustained severe injuries, all of this during a mass prison escape. The Confederation of African Football CAF is done conducting the preliminary round draws for the 2026-2027 CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederation Cup in Cairo, that is in Egypt, recently. Honoring Cheng for presentation, saying thank you for tuning in to the weekender edition of News Hour for this day. We are asking you to stay tuned to programs on the Royal Television throughout the weekend, as I will be your host still next week for another edition of News Hour, 6:30 prompt. Bonne nuit. Bye-bye.